Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm the Book Geek, also known as Kiava, and I'm here to talk about some of my most beloved characters from books that I read in 2021 and some that I hated. Now, I don't know how I want to arrange this, if I want to talk about the characters that I hated first or the characters that I loved first, or if I want to talk about one that I hated and then one that I loved, one that I hated and one that I loved. I don't know. I think because I have more beloved characters than hated characters, I'm going to start with the characters that I downright hated. I'm going to try to the best of my ability to try and verbalize what it was about these characters that I hated so much. Starting off this list is a character from the Scythe book by Neil Shusterman. If you read this book, you probably know who I'm thinking of, but Scythe Goodard, this man was a monster. He abused his power. He killed just for the sake of killing because he could. He was evil, and that is not for lack of a better word. He was the embodiment of every rotten politician ever. I hated him. I fucking hated him. A villain through and through. But not the kind of villain that you can sympathize with. Not the type of villain that you grow to love. Just a villain through and through. This next book has two characters that I just disliked. I can't necessarily say that I hated them. They just annoyed me to no end. And those are the parents from No One's Home. Because I read this book so early in the year, I don't exactly remember what it was that annoyed me about his parents. But they were just so naive to be adults. And I just remember the way I felt while reading them while they were on the page. Can we just skip right past this and get to the good part? Because his parents were just so stupid. In this story, they move into a house and strange things start happening. And it's just like, can we use our common sense here? They were just annoying, very annoying. I didn't like reading from them at all. All right, the next character I want to talk about that I just did not care for is Nandy from A Love-Hate Thing. This is a enemies to lovers story. And although her character does go through some changes throughout the story, I just did not like her. She is one of those people that unfairly judges others. She's a black girl who lives in a predominantly white area, high class society, upper class society, and a black boy that she's known in the past as a child. He goes through some circumstances and ends up moving in with her family. And she treats him like he is the scum of the earth. And I didn't like that. Don't forget who the fuck you are. You know what I mean? I just did not like how she treated him. And then in private, she wants to be nice to him and be his friend. But when her white friends and when her white friends are around, she treats him like a piece of shit. I didn't like that at all. Didn't like that at all. When her rich friends are around, you treat him like a piece of shit. I don't like people like that. Me personally, I treat everybody the same. Not treat everybody the same, but treat everybody accordingly. And it doesn't matter if you are a stripper or a teacher. You're gonna get the same fucking respect from me based on how you treat me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a crackhead or some rich prick. You're going to get the same fucking respect and you're going to get the same me all the time. I just didn't like it. I didn't like her at all. And I don't care what kind of changes she went through or what kind of revelations she came to. I don't like it when people do that, and I don't like it when characters do that. You can kiss my ass. I don't like you. The next character that I just downright hated is Lutz from The Unwelcome. This man was evil. He was terrifying. Terrifying. He was possessive, obsessive. The whole story basically happened because he was obsessed with his ex-girlfriend and would stop at nothing to have her. And all these other people had to die in the process. He was crazy. Batshit crazy. And I'm starting to think that maybe he wasn't human. You know, it's kind of implied there a little bit in the story. This is a horror story, but it's never outright said whether or not he was. I mean, he was so evil, I think he was a demon. And his ex-girlfriend is the next character on the list that I downright hated. Now, I grow to appreciate her more as the story goes on, but she knew of this man's menacing behavior, and at first, she thought it was cute. Laughing about it, making jokes about it. She was all with it until the tables turned, and now she's on the shit end of his stick. Now all of a sudden it's a problem. I also didn't like her because she had prior knowledge of the things that this man was capable of, and she still was blaming someone else that was in her friend group when she knew that it wasn't him. She knew more about what was going on than she let on, but she still accused this other person and abused this other person for things that she knew they weren't responsible for. She tried to make it seem like this person was the crazy one when she knew what her ex-boyfriend was capable of, and that what this other guy was saying was true. She knew it was true, but she just saw an opportunity to like get payback on this person, to mistreat this person, and she seized the opportunity, and I did not like that. Yes, she ends up helping stop this person in the end, but she was also a piece of shit. Didn't like her. Didn't care what happened to her, actually. That's it for all the characters that I just couldn't stand in books. I love it when authors can do that. Make you hate a character. It doesn't mean that I didn't like these books. Some of these books were some of my favorites of the year. Okay, now let's talk about some characters that I love. This year I read Saga Volume 3 through 7. And Marco is still a favorite character. He's always been a favorite character. I just love Marco. I love how he's having like this internal struggle within himself about violence and how far he can actually go and actually hurt people. I love how protective he is of his family. I just love Marco. Just everything about him. He's such a man's man. You know what I mean? I just love that about him. Another beloved character also comes from Scythe. That's Rowan. What I like about Rowan is that he wasn't afraid to make sacrifices. He had such a sacrificial behavior and attitude about himself in order to help the people that he loved. Now, in this story, Rowan is training to become a Scythe, and Scythes are the only ones in this world who are allowed to kill. They basically control the population. And he gets wrapped up with one of my worst characters, my most hated characters, which is Scythe Goodard. But he never forgot who he was deep down inside. And I just love that about him, his sacrificial nature and the lengths that he's willing to go to protect the ones that he loved. Another favorite character, beloved character, also comes from Scythes. That's Citra. I liked her because of her determination. She also was learning to become a Scythe. Her and Rowan at one point were working together under the same Scythe. They were like his proteges or whatever. And then they end up getting separated. But I just love her determination to come out on top, to help herself, her family, and to uncover certain secrets. So trying to solve a bigger problem while also trying to reach her goals and not forgetting the bigger picture as well. I just loved her, loved her, loved her. She was brave, she was smart, loved it. Another beloved character, Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games. What I like about Katniss is that she's so brave. She has so much strength inside of her, and she doesn't even realize it. She doesn't even realize it. She's unknowingly brave and strong and modest. She's just being herself, and people are gravitating towards her and loving her for this, and they're looking up to her, and she's become a beacon of hope, and she's just being Katniss Everdeen. I just love that. I just love that about her. She also had a sacrificial nature. I think that's something that I like in characters, when characters sacrifice themselves for something else. She sacrificed herself to go into the game in her sister's place. You know what I mean? I think that's a trend in characters that I tend to gravitate towards and really appreciate. Which brings me to my next character that I really liked, and that is Io from Red Rising. The way that she sacrificed herself in the beginning of the first book. This story is just kicking off, and she has sacrificed herself, and in doing so, she sort of started a revolution. She's become a martyr, and she was just so brave, so strong. And I think that she realized the bigger picture in the actions in which she was doing as she was doing it. But I don't think that she intended or could know how far her sacrifice would take others. Amazing. I also really adored Feyre from A Court of Thorns and Roses. She also put herself in harm's way to save others. She was just so like badass. Liked her, loved her. And these last three characters all come from Saga. Clara, which is Marco's mother. She's so badass. She's so badass. The way she fights to protect her granddaughter and her family. And there was one part, I don't remember what volume it was, but she told Alana, basically, we don't need the men. We are soldiers. We can do this. And she just kicks ass. I love a strong, badass female character. Loved her. Also, surprisingly, Gus, I think his name is Gus or Gus. I did not expect him to be such a badass. He's so sweet and little and cuddly, but don't fuck with his loved ones, okay? I love that little seal creature, whatever he is. He just stole my heart. When he fought, I'm sorry, spoilers. When he stood up against Will, the brand, the freelancer, I was like, yes, Gus! Oh, he's so tiny. He's so little and cute. I didn't know he was going to kick ass. I loved him. If you haven't read Saga, you got to read Saga. They need to hurry up and turn Saga into a TV show, because I would be there like front and center. But the way that Marco and Alana have come into contact with different species, and they've sort of become a family. People that they were supposed to be enemies with have sort of become their family and close friends. And Gus, I think it's Goose, but Gus is one of them. And he's so protective of his loved ones. I love that little thing. I fucking loved him. And surprisingly, Prince Robot. I don't know Roman numerals. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Prince Robot IV. What's IV? What number is that in Roman numerals? I don't know. But at first, you fucking hate the Prince Robot, okay? And by volume 5, you grow to love him. And he has so many different layers. I'm realizing that there's more to him than what we saw in the earlier volumes. Around volume 5 is when I start to really adore him. And as much as he doesn't like to admit it, he is starting to care about Alana and Marco and their entire family. I love how protective he is of his son. It surprised me. I wasn't expecting that from him at all. Now, he was one of the ones that I didn't like in previous in some of the previous volumes. And, you know, Marco and Alana come from two opposing sides, and they've had this baby, and it's sort of like an abomination. Everyone wants to kill them or take their child, or everyone has plans for them. And along the way, you know, we have Marco and Alana in the ship, and we have a Prince robot in there who's not supposed to be on their side. We have all these different species coming together and learning that, you know, there's more to the horns and the wings than maybe they expected. And he got to learn those things through Marco and Alana. And it's just beautiful to see the way the story is weaving out. I hope that something doesn't happen that makes him go against them and then he has to go back on my shit list, or maybe even if he was to go against them based on his character growth, I wouldn't put him on the shit list. I'm really starting to gravitate towards this character. It was so surprising. I was like, I'm really starting to like this guy. All right, and so that's it. Those are all my most hated characters and my most beloved characters. Let me know down below some characters that you just straight up hated in books and some that you just adore. And let me know why and what books they come from. I would love to maybe read that book. Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. As always, stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.